Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're switching things up. We're only going to be going through two albums for this video. And we're starting off in '69 with From Elvis and Memphis, and the second album that dropped not too long after, Elvis Back in Memphis. And so what we wanted to do was give us a little bit more time with these albums and some of the other '70 albums, to give us more time to be able to discuss it more, because a lot of these albums, there's so much information, we don't want to try to cram it all in one video and it be way too long. So we're trying to condense it a little bit more, and we're just going to be going off of two albums for this video, and those two albums being those. So if you want to go ahead and start with the little tidbits that you have over here.
First off, the CD he showed you was the Follow That Dream label, which has it's I think a 2 CD set, and it gives you outtakes as well as the original album. So if you want to hear how Elvis progressed through the songs, that gives you an opportunity to. If you're a record collector, an LP collector, and you like to get the album, this is the album cover. Again, it looks the same way except for it's just bigger. But you had some great songs on it. You have Wearing That Loved On Look, Only the Strong Survive, I'll Hold You in My Heart, Long Black Limousine, It Keeps Right On a Hurtin', I'm Moving On, Power of My Love, Gently on My Mind, After Loving You, True Love Travels on a Gravel Road, Any Day Now, and In the Ghetto. And if you happen to get a first pressing of the album, you'll be hopefully fortunate enough to get it with the single. With a picture. Try to find that special photo, bonus photo that came with the album. It's a nice picture of Elvis Presley in '69, and then you have on the back a catalog of what was released up to that point in his music from that time. Standard catalog, and then the motion picture soundtrack. So that's pretty neat little piece of history that comes with the album. If you can't get the Follow That Dream CD because it's out of print, or you're not into really collecting records, on Amazon Prime or Amazon, you can get the RCA Legacy of the album as well. And what's nifty about this CD is it's actually 2 CD set, and it's also backed with Back in Memphis. So you not only get From Elvis in Memphis and the singles, but you also get Back in Memphis as well. And you get a great little package of the whole album. And very, very recommended this set. Due to the fact that you get some great music from Elvis from 1969, where he recorded Suspicious Minds in the Ghetto, Kentucky Rain, Don't Cry Daddy. Those were the singles. And then you have these albums recorded from the same place of American Sound Studios, which he recorded in January and February of '69, which produced these two really fantastic albums. But From Elvis in Memphis, that's the only one that's raved by the critics. Sad to say, Back in Memphis is considered the lesser of the two, but in my opinion, both are top notch.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
And go ahead and you can tell them your favorite.
So my favorite from Elvis in Memphis would have to be Any Day Now. Love the story it tells. I love his voice, and what we be getting into with these these late '60s, '70s albums is that velvet sound that we always like talking about, and how it's starting to mold, and you're starting to see it a lot in this album. You saw it a little bit with the '68 comeback, but like we were saying earlier, it's really put its mark on this album, and it's a great way to open up for his comeback to the studio.
Yeah,
was this album, and his voice has definitely changed, and you can hear that, and he has a lot more control, and his voice being that velvet, rough, raw sounds awesome with a lot of these songs, and it sounds great on Any Day Now.
Oh yeah.
And so
yeah, that turning point of his voice. He had that smooth sound in the soundtracks. Really his voice changed, and when he came back from the army, he started having that sound that started to be turning into a more adult contemporary sound. From that high pitch sound of you ain't raw sound of like a hound dog, or all shook up, or bring my baby back to me, Santa Claus, Santa bring my baby back to me, or All those songs there from the 50s that he had recorded, that rawness started to change when he came into the military, came out of the military. He started having a little bit more of a Dean Martin Velvet sound. But then in 68, he was able to incorporate that rawness of the 50s with the smoothness of the 60s and that Velvet sound, and where it just filled with emotion. And then later on in the 70s, the rawness kind of went away, and it became more of a tone of a Velvet smooth sound, you know. And but yeah, when you look at From Elvis and Memphis, or when you listen to From Elvis and Memphis, my favorite one is Wearing That Love Don't Look. From that first line, I had to leave town for a little while. The way he's hitting that note, and he's like stretching his vocal cords to hit the note. Not that he's straining, don't get me wrong, but he's stretching his vocals because it's still smooth, still has control of his vocals, but you have that rough edge to it. And man, no matter how often I listen to that song, if it comes on the radio on Sirius XM, I have to listen to it because it just rips it up really good.
When he sings it, baby, and he shouts
wearing that in the backup, shoop shoop, they're backing him up.
It's great with
the song, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite on the album, just because to me there is really no weak songs on the album. I mean, if you listen to the album, if you put it on, you may find one that you go, that's okay. I'll hold you in my heart. Maybe you listen to that and you go, that's too bluesy for me. It would have to be a preference, because the album is a mixture of country, rhythm and blues, and adult contemporary. You have a sprinkle of gospel in certain ones too, a sound of gospel music, especially with those ladies that are backing them up. But really, every one of the songs are bangers. Long Black Limousine. Oh man, that's a good one. Of course, and then you got In the Ghetto. How can you deny that song?
You want some more rock and roll? You go with Power of My Love.
Oh man, yeah, and him harmonizing with himself in that album, that song. Man, I tell you, that's a good song. And when you look at the two albums, From Elvis in Memphis and Back in Memphis, critics will say, well, Back in Memphis is the lesser of the two, but still, it's got bangers on it. It's just a great album. He really meant what he said, at least when it shows you in the Elvis movie. And whether he said it during the 68 comeback special, I don't know, but he did say that he will never sing a song again he didn't believe in. And these songs, he believes in them, and he's pouring his heart and soul into them. And when we look at Back in Memphis, it originally was a 2 LP set. It was backed with this live album. Back in Memphis came out in October of '69. And so what they did was they added some songs from Elvis singing in August of '69 in Vegas. You have a gatefold album. And the second album, LP, was Back in Memphis. And so when it opened up with some pictures, you have the the listing of what was on each record. And of course, this is when the public first heard a 7-minute version of Suspicious Minds. I mean, what a rip it was, and good album. So if you're collecting the album, you want to look for this one. Now later on, 1970, they did release this album by itself. But if you're looking for first pressings, this is the one to look for. It's a double LP with the live set. And of course, you're going to want the live set to hear him do Suspicious Minds live.
So now we're going to be moving on to Elvis Back in Memphis. And on this one, we have Inherit the Wind, This Is the Story, Stranger in My Own Hometown, A Little Bit of Green, And the Grass Won't Pay No Mind, Do You Know Who I Am, From a Jack to a King, The Fair's Moving On, You'll Think of Me, and Without Love, There's Nothing.
Yeah.
So this is really, when the critics say it is the lesser of the two albums, they're right, but don't let that get to you. This album is still really good, and it has a lot of great songs on it. And let's be honest, how can you compete with From Elvis in Memphis with all the songs that it does have on it, and even the singles that came before it with Suspicious Minds, Kentucky Rain, and Daddy Don't Cry Daddy. And so I mean,
and In the Ghetto.
And In the Ghetto was another single. And so it's a hard album to compete with because you have all the great songs on that album, then you have the singles before it that were amazing also. So it is a hard album to compete with, but this one still is a great album,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it is great listened if you would like to listen to another good Elvis album. This is another great one.
Oh, for
And
sure.
so
And again, it's mixed with rhythm and blues, country, adult contemporary, and sprinkled gospel music. My favorite one. Oh, did you tell your favorite?
no, I have
Oh,
not.
go
You
ahead.
you
Go
can go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay. My favorite one off that album is "The Fair Is Moving On." Beautiful storytelling. Really, this is Elvis, the adult Elvis, adult contemporary, mature Elvis, singing a story, and but the story has this emotion and a passion behind it, and only how Elvis can do, really. I mean, he does such a wonderful job singing that song and makes you want to listen to it. But then again, it's hard to pick a song off this album. Again, you may have some weak ones to you. You may have, well, From a Jack to a King. That's not that great, or This Is the Story is not that great. And that may be your opinion, but really every song on here is a banger. It's Elvis singing what he believes in, and he believed these songs.
Yeah, and well, for mine off this album, because like you said, there's a lot of hard ones. Stranger in My Hometown's a great one, and Inherit the Wind's a great one.
It's a good blues song.
Oh yeah, and but and The Grass Won't Pay No Mind would have to be mine, and that is such a emotional and touching song when you hear it, and as hard as it can be. Don't listen to Elvis really his vocals. Just listen to the story that it tells because it's a wonderful and sad and heartbreaking story, but it's such a beautiful way he tells it, and
He tells it so it's tender. It's a
Oh, yeah.
tender song. It's like it brings back. It reminds you of "Love Me Tender."
Yeah.
How tender the song is, and he does the same thing. Listen easy, dun, dun, dun. You can hear God calling. I mean, it's just got such a tender song to it, and you listen. And of course, when you hear it and you go, "Man, it's great writing," you find out it's written by Neil Diamond.
Yeah, another Neil Diamond song.
And it's a great song. And personally, I believe this is what happened. You see, in '69 of January and February, Elvis wanted to record there, but Chip Moman already had those dates booked with Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond was supposed to record there, and so he called up Neil Diamond and asked him, "Hey, Elvis likes to record during these dates. Would it be okay if he recorded and we booked you at another time?" And Neil Diamond said, "Yeah, that's perfectly fine." And I can see Elvis doing this as a thank you to Neil Diamond
Oh, yeah.
for letting him go ahead and record the time that he wanted to record, because he not only did that one, later on he talked how highly he loved Sweet Caroline,
Oh, yeah.
and he recorded that song the following year in 1970 live, and he sang that song quite a bit live.
Yeah, he loved
really
that
loved
song.
that song, and so it's interesting how you see these behind the scene friendships and respect for one another.
Yeah.
That he respected his songwriting, and Neil Diamond respected him, and appreciated what Elvis brought to the table with the music that he sang.
And Sweet Caroline's a great song, and I mean, so is this one. I'm not a huge Neil Diamond fan, but I cannot deny his songwriting abilities are amazing, because when you listen to this song, In the Grass Won't Pay No Mind, the songwriting is really what got me. I was like, I love this. And also the production that Elvis can put on for that song, man.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just awesome with the like you said, the dun dun dun.
Yeah.
How he does that and incorporates it in the song. It just sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Elvis's voice comes through again like it
Phenomenal,
always
yeah.
does.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just fabulous, and you said it's like a very tender song, and it is. But you feel his emotion through each word that he says and how he articulates it, and it sounds phenomenal. He does a wonderful job on this
Yeah, he
song.
does.
He does a wonderful job on every song in this album and the album beforehand. It is just a great 2 albums and a great way to come back from, just doing movies and stuff like that. Like we were talking about with the '68 comeback. He came back with that, but then to come back with these 2 back to back is great. And this one only came out a few months after from Elvis in Memphis in October. So I mean, it's a great album.
Yeah, for sure, sir. So,
Okay.
So if you're looking for new, at least new to you, Elvis music, this would be your best bet. Again, it's like only $14 on Amazon, and you could order it and have it. And of course, this one would have from Elvis in Memphis, as well as back in Memphis, 2 CD set. excellent CD set to get if you want to further your education of Elvis music, or if you want to hear some new music, or maybe you know about this album, but you know what, you don't have it anymore. Time goes by. Well, this is a great set to pick up, very inexpensive. You get both albums, and I guarantee you, you'll really enjoy the music on this CD.
Oh yeah, they won't let you down. I promise you that.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you can, subscribe to the channel. We plan on doing the different 70s albums of Elvis. We're going to try to stick to doing 3 or 1. It depends on the recording session. These 2 albums, we did these 2 because they were both recorded at the same time, and we talk about the albums, give you a little bit behind the scenes that we know of, and also give you our opinion of what we really enjoyed off those albums. Maybe you'll hear something you didn't know about and go, hey, that's a hidden gem, and you get to further your love of Elvis Presley like we love Elvis Presley.
Well, you guys have a great day, rest of your day, whenever you're watching this, and please come back for more. We'll love to have you on. Comment something on the video. Maybe you got something out of this you didn't know, or we missed something because we're not the greatest of people.
By all means.
Remembering stuff. So if you just want, comment. Maybe, hey, you guys forgot about this. Comment. We'll love it. We'll reply and everything. We would love to hear what you guys have to think. And,
for sure.
So you guys have a blessed day.